It's almost instantaneous. That's fantastic control. I cannot wait to use this now. Awesome. So there it goes. A second time, I connected my solar panel to this other one, and you can see that the light level is at level 6. Another thing I didn't expect is being able to connect things like these Govee presence sensors. I've also been able to connect things like this motion sensor. Today I'm going to show you how to do something called set up a Bluetooth proxy with Home Assistant. Now, the point of this is to give you the ability to connect Bluetooth devices, and this is one of the most important communication technologies that you can use with Home Assistant, but not every version of Home Assistant even has Bluetooth on it. There's a lot of benefits to this. So let me explain why we're doing it this way, and then I'll show you a really quick way to get this set up. These are really cheap, so this is really great stuff. Let's give her. When you go to look up Bluetooth integration with Home Assistant, you're likely to end up on this page right here. The Bluetooth integration will detect nearby Bluetooth devices. Discovered devices then just show up on your integrations page. It's wonderful, but in many cases, a better approach than a directly connected adapter or card is to use a Bluetooth proxy using an ESP32. This is a pretty standard ESP32 board. You kind of want to get that. I've seen some other people do other boards and you end up with some coding. So that's why I've chosen this one. The brand name, it's not necessarily really specific, but I'll leave a link down below to that. Now I'm using the micro USB version of this, and I have it set into a breadboard. If you use an onboard Bluetooth from your Home Assistant instance, maybe you've got a hub, maybe you've got a server, you've got something with a Bluetooth adapter on it. Now, the radio or the antenna is therefore right next to your hub. You might have other radios or other antennas or other interference sources around that. You only have one location. Now, you could do a hybrid model, but you only have one location for Bluetooth to kind of cover your whole home. You're also using processing power from your Home Assistant instance to communicate with all the different devices. So that puts more loading on your Home Assistant, whatever you're using. Instead, if you use these Bluetooth proxies around your home, first of all, you could set up multiple locations. You can cover your whole home as you see fit, and that's gonna let you avoid interference sources. So this is why they say it's kind of better to go in this version, or at least these are the reasons that I understand. If you have some more reasons that you think this is better, please let me know in the comments below. You'll let other automators know that as well. But because of this, there might be a step you need to take if your Home Assistant instance already has a Bluetooth adapter or Bluetooth on it. So let's do that first. We gotta turn off your internal Bluetooth adapter if you're going to start using something like this. Now, the method you do that, I'm inside of my Home Assistant portal here, and I've gone to settings, and I just want to show you real quick. Here's our core, our supervisor, our operating system, all those versions for you, okay? And I'm using Home Assistant Green. But again, I'm gonna go to settings, I'm going to go to devices and services, and up here, I'm going to search for Bluetooth, okay? If you see an integration here, what you want to do is you want to go into that device and you want to disable it using the 3 dots. So I'll show you what this looks like here on one of my devices. So I'm just inside of a different integration here. You can see it's the DLNA integration, and I'm just gonna hit disable. So that's what you would do with your current Bluetooth device. That's to kind of clear the way for your proxies. The next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that an add-on is installed. So this add-on, it's the ESP Home Device Builder. So I already have this installed, but if you don't, you're going to go to the add-on store inside of this, and you're just going to look up ESP Home. You don't need the beta, you don't need the dev, and what you're going to do is you're going to get that installed and running. It's just a couple of clicks, let it get running on your Home Assistant, and actually we can go to the next stage in the process. Our next goal is to load what we need onto our ESP32 board. Now, the good news is that there's a website or a web page that makes this very easy for us from the esphome.io website. You're able to actually just upload software onto this board. But in order to do that, we gotta connect this to the computer, and then we can use that web page. What I've done is I've connected this using a micro USB cable, and then it goes to USB-A, and it's plugged in to my computer. Most of the devices have a tiny light on them. Make sure that's on. The USB cable you have to use, it has to be for data. And we need potentially some drivers installed so that we can communicate with this. So let me show you what that looks like. It's a little bit tricky. Here I am on a page called Ready Made Projects. This is on the ESP Home website. If you want to find a device, so right here, generic ESP32, turn any ESP32 into a Bluetooth proxy for Home Assistant, okay? This only works with plain ESP32. That's actually not true. I've seen people who want to go and do like some coding and add some extra things. I've seen some people be able to do the C3 variants. But simple click here or a simple click down below will get you exactly this board that I purchased and is working for me today. This is where it could get tricky depending on what you're using. When I hit Bluetooth Proxy, so that's the first thing we want to hit, and then we want to choose, it's a generic ESP32 device, and then we want to hit connect. When I hit connect, it brings up a page that basically says, hey, this page wants to connect to one of your serial ports. I don't actually see something that looks like it would be this. In fact, I tried to connect to the different ports. So I tried COM1, I tried COM4, I knew it wasn't COM3 or the echo frames. I'm just not seeing what this device should be. And just so you know what it looked like on my computer, here's the screen when you do this correctly. You can see this COM6. Now, in order to get that to show up, I had to do a little bit of troubleshooting and I had to look for a couple of things on my computer. What really helped was when I hit cancel on that connection screen, it brought up this page where it says, okay, you didn't select a port and now you have to go through this list. The fourth point here shows that you might need a driver. For me, it ended up being the CP2102 drivers, but in order to figure that out, I had to go to my device manager in Windows. You can do that by searching with the bottom bar. Here I am, I'm in Device Manager, and I've highlighted this CP2102 USB to UART bridge controller. I'm highlighting that because when I plug this in, it is showing up, and when I unplug it, it's going away. So I know that this is my device. Now, I can go into the properties, I can look for the location. You'll notice there's no drivers installed. And that will tell you what you need to click on here. So the one I need to click on are the CP2102 drivers. Now I'm going to head into the downloads and I'm going to download the CP210X Universal Windows driver. What I've done with that driver download is I've just grabbed everything out of it, I've extracted it into a folder. You're going to need to know where that folder is in just a moment. And so just copy that. And then we're going to head back to our device manager. I'm going to right click on that device and I'm going to go to update driver. Now we could search automatically for that. It might find it, but I've downloaded one specifically for this. So I'm going to browse for my device, and you can see I'm searching for drivers, and now it's installed that driver. So we've got a driver, and now I'm seeing it as COM6. So that's what I'm looking for now. When I try again, I should see, yes, there it is, COM6, and now we're going to connect to that. It's just hitting the install ESP Home Bluetooth Proxy on this. It's going to erase the data on the device. It's already doing that. You can see it's erasing, and it will install over the next 2 minutes. We just got to wait. When we're done that, I'll come back and I'll show you one little trick that I've had to do in order to get this actually into the next stage. All right, it says install complete. We're all good to go, supposedly. So when I hit next, this is the prompt that comes up, and we actually need to do another step here. So don't click off the X or anything like that. Hit logs and console, or at least this is what I'm having to do. Then down at the bottom, hit back, and you see it reconnects to the device. I'm sure you could refresh the page and connect to the device, but here it's allowing me to put in my credentials for Wi-Fi. So we've got to get this board connected to Wi-Fi. So I've found my Wi-Fi network, I've typed in my password, and now I'm hitting connect. That's going to get this on our Wi-Fi at home. You can see I can add it to Home Assistant just like this. And because we previously configured the ESP32 add-on, we're just gonna have to click that, hit open link, and now it's saying, hey, do you want to set up ESP Home? Okay, but we've already got that set up. So here it is, it's been discovered. You can see that it is also in my list of discovered devices. So I can just hit add over there. If you don't get this prompt up or you're struggling, just head back to your devices and services page and hit that add button, okay? So I'm just hitting that. Now I'm hitting submit, and now I can add it to a specific area. And look, the bunch of Bluetooth devices from SwitchBot just popped up on my devices and integrations tab. This is going to stay in my basement, so I'm just gonna hit that, hit finish. Inside of my devices list, you could see how many different Bluetooth devices. Now what's really interesting to me about this method, especially with SwitchBot products, is the Lock Pro is in my SwitchBot app right now. Here it is. It's called Front Door Lock. Okay, right there. And just to show you, I'm going to hit the button. Hey. Oh, that's the wrong one. It's called SwitchBot Lock Pro. I'm going to hit the unlock button. There you go. So it's working in SwitchBot's app. You would think you can't just add it using your Bluetooth proxy, right? Well, there it is right there. I'm hitting add. Now, an encrypted SwitchBot device can be set up in Home Assistant 2 different ways. You can enter the key ID and encryption key yourself, or Home Assistant can import them. All right, well, I'm going to let Home Assistant do that for me. So now I have to provide my SwitchBot app username and password. So I've got those in here. I'm just hitting submit. It is going to the cloud for this configuration, okay? So in that little moment, it did require the cloud. Where am I gonna put this? Well, this one's actually going out to the garage now. So I'm gonna put it in the garage entry, hit finish. This SwitchBot product has 8 different entities that I can work with. And of course, you know, we have the ability to lock the device. And that is a lot faster than most of the commands that I'm putting through SwitchBot's hub. So, you know, before when I was trying to control it using Bluetooth on my phone, it took a couple of seconds, and through their hub, it takes a few seconds. So this is incredibly fast control. Like that's a click. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oops. So watch how fast this control is. I'm gonna hit unlock. Ready? Like it's almost instantaneous. That's fantastic control. I cannot wait to use this now. Awesome. Another thing I didn't expect is being able to connect things like these Govee presence sensors. I've also been able to connect things like this motion sensor, and it's really simple connection using this Bluetooth proxy. So I now have 2 Bluetooth devices in here. This is a presence sensor, so it's detecting both motion and occupancy. Really easy to create automations with. I can get the signal strength out of that as well if I'd like to enable that entity. And so I can create really easy automations with this, occupancy based or motion based or both. This is an outdoor sensor, and so what you have to do is do the event capture method to kind of trigger those. So both of these really interesting options I didn't expect to get with Govee. One of the things that I'm most excited about is that it's turned all my SwitchBot sensors into fully fledged great sensors. So it just changed to wet. It's that fast of a response. So that leak sensor, this can be used with automations now in my home. Fantastic. This demo you're gonna see, it applies to curtains, the blind tilt controllers, and the roller shades that I have in my home. So first of all, you know, here's a controller, a simple controller for this one right here. I can open and close. I can use the other more basic controls, and sometimes I get a little bit of a delay for wake up, but then the automation runs, my curtains open, and usually it's pretty responsive. So there it goes a second time, but you'll notice there's not really a light level on this, or at least it's never changing. Well, I connected my solar panel to this other one, and you can see that the light level is at level 6. So this allows you to actually run automations off of the light levels in rooms. Well, actually outdoors, because these are going to be facing the outdoors in most cases. So again, this applies to this, the roller shades as well, when you get them connected through Bluetooth. Another big reason to use this Bluetooth connectivity with your SwitchBot gear. There you have it, guys. Now you can add additional Bluetooth proxies if you'd like, and you're going to be able to add a ton of Bluetooth devices to Home Assistant. So I hope this really helps you, and I hope you'll check out a couple of our other videos here for Home Assistant. We're showing you guys how to do things like this or connect product lineups like SwitchBots, Govees, few other companies. Check those out in the playlist that's up on screen there. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, live smart.